The natural meditation of the body is far more effective in dealing with anxiety than any psychological or psychiatric approach. The reason being is that anxiety is a sensation essentially existing in the body of you. That's where you feel it, in your chest, in your throat, or throughout your whole nervous system, depending on whether it's mild anxiety or escalated all the way through to a panic attack. Now, this feeling inside of your body has got nothing wrong with it. It's supposed to be like that. It's a natural sensation of the living organism of you in response to its environment or in response to something going on deeper inside of yourself that you may not even be aware of, or something in your life that you may not be aware of, or something in your life that you are aware of. Whatever it is, the sensation is what we're dealing with, and being able to live comfortably with this sensation is actually, ironically, very important. It's an uncomfortable sensation, but we need to be able to live with it comfortably. And what I mean by that is not necessarily be comfortable in the sensation, but understand the sensation as an acceptable part of your daily life, something that is there for its own good reason. And the reason is it's bringing your attention to something you need to pay attention to, either on the outside or on the inside. Now, with the psychological or psychiatric approach to anxiety is we start to think about it and talk about it and analyze, why is it there? What are we going to do about it? And all of our thinking about it produces a whole nother layer of unresolvable anxiety, which is mental anxiety. So mental anxiety is another product of itself, literally a product of itself. If you think about anxiety, those thoughts will produce another type of anxiety that's not actually the real anxiety in your body, but something that you have produced out of your thoughts' imitation of that anxiety, of that real thing. And that's what thoughts do. They describe things that are real. They themselves are not real. They are just used for describing and thinking about the real. And the real in this case is the anxiety that you feel as a sensation in your body, and the unreal is the anxiety that you add to it with your thinking and in your thinking, which is quite disconnected, you may notice, from the feeling itself, and actually more difficult to deal with, way more difficult to deal with than purely a sensation or a feeling in the body of you. That's just one thing going on there, just a vibration, just a disturbance in the body of you. It's not that difficult to deal with. So when you bring in the psychological analysis of the anxiety and trying to get to the root of the problem and so on, you're just thinking about it. And the more you're thinking about it, you're actually approaching that anxiety as a problem that needs to be resolved. And that's the first mistake of the psychological approach. It approaches all these natural and actually important sensations that go on inside of us as if they're problems. And they're not problems at all. There's not one sensation inside of you that is actually an illness or a problem. It's all just information, and it's information that's been triggered by the environment you're in or by what's going on deeper inside of you, which you've lost contact with. And so this information is very, very important to understanding you and understanding the environment you're in. But this understanding is also at the primary level where you first sense the anxiety inside of you. You don't know why you're anxious, but you know something's wrong. When your friend or your wife or your husband or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your child walks into your room and you're feeling something, what's wrong? You're feeling something anxious occur inside of you, you ask them, what's wrong? What's up? And you feel the vibration, you feel the frequency, you feel the feeling of them in your own body. This is an informative interaction. You have the sensation in yourself that enables you to be sensitive to other human beings in your environment. This is not bad. This is not wrong. This is not an ailment. This is nothing wrong with that. Or you have a feeling inside of you that is actually coming out from deeper inside of you that you haven't noticed lately, and it just comes up every now and then. That's not wrong. That's not bad. Again, this is informative. So any sensation, including anxiety, is an informative sensation in the body to draw your attention not to thinking about that anxiety, not to thinking about that sensation, but to feeling it as it is in your body. Because if you think about it, you're going to complain about it, you're going to worry about it, you're going to try and get rid of it, you're going to try and fix it as though there's something wrong with it. Whereas if you just feel it as it already is being felt anyway in the body of you, which is why it caught your attention, because you felt it. If you really just feel it as a sensation it is in the body, just feeling it is the beginning of your meditation. Just feeling it in the body as a sensation in your body is already beginning its resolution. But more importantly, it's beginning your resolution of conflict with that sensation. Because once you come into contact with that sensation, the thoughts about it are dropping away. You're more focused now on just how it feels, not so much on thinking about it to try and resolve it, but to feeling it in order to be guided by it and to simply be in that state because it's happening. Because it's happening. Just like if you're hot, or if you're cold, or if you're depressed, or if you're tired, whatever the state happens to be, being in that state because it's happening, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're tired, you should feel tired. If you're hot, you should feel hot. If you're cold, you should feel cold. All of these sensations and any physical sensation you have is just informing you of how you are today. And anxiety is one of these. So the anxiety can be there for a lot of different reasons, but the point we're starting with here is how can I live with this anxiety comfortably? Yeah? How can I be anxious comfortably? Is to not mentalize it, not to think about it, not to complain about it, and definitely don't treat it as a mental illness with something to get rid of. Thinking about it is the only mental illness there is. But anxiety is not the thinking about it. The real anxiety is the feeling of it. Not the thinking about it, but the feeling of it. When we're thinking about it, we're thinking about the feeling of it. And the feeling of it is a physical sensation in our body, not the thoughts we're having about it. And so that thoughts we're having about it take us away from the actual feeling of the sensation into this dramatization of that sensation in all of our worries and concerns and thoughts about it, which actually escalates the disturbance beyond what we can cope with. And this is when it becomes what we call nowadays commonly a mental illness. And so mentalizing about a sensation, about any sensation that goes on inside of you, is what is actually creating the industry of mental illness. Otherwise, there is no such thing as mental illness. Mental illness can be boiled down to a simple thing, and that is the reaction to any natural yet maybe disturbing sensation that is going on inside of the body of you. So be careful of this. Drop beneath that reaction. Meditation is so much more, or natural meditation of the body is far more effective in resolving this, because it actually enables you to come back into the body and feel that sensation as it is, and coming back into the body and feeling it, meaning that getting out of your thinking and noticing what is already there. What triggered that thinking in the first place was you felt anxious. So feel anxious. Feel anxious. Don't be concerned about thinking about it. Don't concern yourself with any thoughts about it, but pay attention to feeling anxious and just feeling that as a sensation in your body, not dramatizing it, not trying to get rid of it, but just let it be there and see how it feels. Take an interest in this interesting feeling. It's a feeling that is telling you something about yourself or about your environment. That's why it's there. It's not there because there's something wrong with you or something wrong with your environment. It's not saying something's wrong with you or something's wrong with your environment. It's just saying you need to pay attention to something inside of you, or pay attention to something external. And in doing so, you need your feeling of anxiety, because how do you connect with the thing on the outside of you that's triggered your anxiety is through your anxiety. So you're feeling your anxiety and you don't really know what's disturbing you. And by staying with that anxiety, letting that be there rather than trying to get rid of it or suppress it, but just feel it as a sensation in your body, it becomes comfortable in the sense that it becomes the right way for you to be. And it is. If you're feeling anxious, you're supposed to be, because something's going on around you that needs your attention, which you may not have noticed yet. And you may not notice it immediately. You may not notice it today or tomorrow, but eventually, when it keeps coming up for you, this sense of anxiety, bringing your attention to the world or the people in your life around you today, and each day after that, until it's clear to you that anxiety will be there. And what I'm saying is, until why that anxiety is there is clear to you, it won't go away. And that's the good thing about your natural intelligence in your own body, is it alerts you sensorially to something that's going on before you've even noticed it mentally. And so this is a very, very important guidance in your life and an insight into your life that only the body can do. Your thinking can't do this. Your thinking is too superficial and too numbed out. It's only the feeling, the felt sense of you in the body that's picking up what's going on all the time. Now, complaining about what you're picking up, complaining about those sensations in your body, whatever they happen to be, and in this case we're talking about anxiety, complaining about it builds a problem of it, builds a problem on top of it made up of your thinking about it. And it's not a problem at all. That thinking about it that suggests it's a problem is nothing more than a reaction to feeling the way you don't want to feel. And this is a huge problem in our human species, where we're trying to not feel the way we don't want to feel, when actually we need to feel all the ways we feel. If you only want to feel blissful and happy, or just want to feel peaceful and calm, you've got a major problem going on of immaturity, of personal immaturity. That means you don't understand that all the feelings that go on inside of you are absolutely equally necessary to one another. Sometimes you're going to feel calm and peaceful. Other times you're going to feel erratic and disturbed. And there's good reason for all of those feelings. They're all there for a reason, and that is to guide you into the resolution of what's going on in your life, or guide you through your life, or bring your attention into a more alert state when there's danger around you, or when there's something in your life that you're not seeing that could be harmful to you, or when there's something going on inside of you that has actually been forgotten and overlooked, and is remaining inside of you as an unresolved issue or trauma or hurt that is actually coming into your life and causing problems in your life through your behaviors, but you're not noticing that hurt and feeling it at its beginnings. And so feeling that hurt at its beginnings and learning to feel again, meaning learning to feel whatever sensation is going on. Learning that whatever sensation is going on is equally important to any other sensation, and this is something that you can feel. And feeling it is not suffering it. Feeling it means you feel different. You might feel anxious, you might feel nervous, you might feel calm, you might feel powerful, you might feel insecure. You feel all sorts of things, but whatever you're feeling, that feeling is real. That feeling is really there right now. And only when we analyze it and think about it do we turn it into do we build a problem out of it, and on top of it, disconnected from the actual feeling of it, and then we go into this emotionalized dramatization of a story about not wanting to feel this way. Not wanting to feel any way you feel is a problem. You need to feel the way you feel, and not wanting to feel that way, that's what's causing you suffering. That's what's causing you misery. That thinking of not wanting to feel the way you feel, or not wanting to feel your anxiety, that is what's causing your misery, because you are feeling that way. And when you don't want to feel the way you are feeling, you've got a major problem, haven't you? Because you are feeling that way and you don't want to. What can you do about that? What is not wanting to feel the way you feel going to do? It's going to cause you to deny it, to suppress it, to ignore it, to override it, to fob it off, and all of this is a problem. You don't want to do any of that with yourself, because those ways in which you automatically are feeling are there for a reason. That is guiding you through your life. Now, if you stay with that feeling long enough, what will happen? Whatever it happens to be, if you stay with that feeling just as a sensation in the body, understanding from what I've been saying today that thinking about these sensations is the wrong approach. Psychiatric approach and psychological approach to pain or disturbance or any sensation in the body is completely, absolutely wrong. This will just disconnect you from it into thoughts about it, away from the sensation itself. Now, why am I saying it's completely and absolutely wrong? Is because any understanding of yourself and of the sensation, both of these are in the same place. The understanding of yourself in that condition, in that feeling, is in the feeling itself. By being with the feeling of anxiety, what will happen? What is in that feeling of anxiety? What does anxiety know that your thinking doesn't know? What does the feeling of anxiety know that your thinking doesn't know? All your thinking knows is, I don't like the feeling of anxiety. That's all it knows, what's causing it to come about. But what your anxiety knows is there's something in my environment or deeper inside of me that is stirring this feeling of anxiety. And anxiety is the feeling in you that is in direct contact at a sensory level with whatever it is that's going on in your life to cause you to feel that way, and that is your connection to it. That is the way you're going to fathom that on the outside of you or that on the inside of you that is causing the anxiety, the anxious feeling inside of you, which it should be, in order to draw attention to either that thing on the outside of you that needs you to know about it, or the thing on the inside of you that also equally needs you to know about it. But to know about it comes from the anxiety. So first you have to begin with the sensation in the body. The sensation in the body is the source of information. It's just not formed into words yet. It's purely as a sensation which has been triggered and caused by the information around you or inside of you that you're currently oblivious to, or not quite onto, or not understanding is even in existence. And so being with that anxiety, staying with any sensation in your body in this way, you are having to be mentally quieter. And you will be mentally quieter because you're not complaining about it. You're not trying to get rid of it. You're not analyzing it. You're not thinking about it. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing, which is, oh, I better feel this. I need to just feel this anxiety. Something inside of me is trying to tell me something and I don't know what it is. So what's the point of trying to think about that which I admittedly don't know? What am I going to think about? I don't know what it is yet. All I know is I feel anxious. So I have to start with the anxiety. Start with the feeling of sensations in my body. And that's where it exists, right there. With anxiety, it's mostly going to be in your stomach, your chest, and maybe in your throat. And if it builds up into a panic attack, it could be all through your body. This is really screaming at you that something's really, really wrong or about to happen, or has already happened and you've forgotten all about it and it's still hurting you on the inside in the sense of trauma, etc. And so when you are feeling these feelings of anxiety, rather than thinking about it, rather than complaining about it, rather than trying to work it out, admit you don't know. That's why you haven't worked it out. You don't know what it is. All you do know, and what is it you do know, is you know the way you feel. You know the feeling of it in your body. And knowing the feeling of whatever that feeling in your body is, that is the only thing you need to know. That is the anchor in reality and the anchor in the situation that you currently aren't cognitively understanding, but physically your body knows. So you need to get to where the knowing begins, and the knowing of your environment, of your life, or of what's going on inside of you, what you need to know is known via that sensation of anxiety. So come back to the feeling of sensations in your body and starting with that, just feeling that. Because you're understanding now, from what I've been saying, that you don't have to think about that in fact is the wrong approach, that what you need to do is feel that. That's what feelings are for. They're not there to be thought about. They're there to be felt. Sensations are there to be felt. They are the first point of contact with your environment or with what's going on inside of you, and they are your first point of information and understanding that, and you have to start at the first point. So being with that anxiety quietly, because you now know I have to feel this. This is important. So whatever the sensation that comes up in your body, feel that. Just be with that. This is saying shut up and feel. So shut up mentally and just feel. Don't do anything about it. Doing something about it is thinking about it and trying to find a resolution to feeling that way. You don't need a resolution to feeling that way. This is just social conditioning to say you should be happy and peaceful all the time, when that is absolutely ridiculous. You should be however you are, because however you are is determined by what is going on around you or inside of you that you need to know. So if you are anxious, there's something that is bringing that anxiety on in you, and that is your body's way of bringing all of its attention to the anxiety, and through the anxiety to whatever the body understands in that feeling. So that sensation, that anxiety, like all other sensations, is full of information. It's just that it hasn't come to the cognitive level of your cognitive, mental, descriptive understanding yet. It's only at the feeling level. And you may need a few more facts or a few more indications to bring that about. But the fundamental foundation of you getting to that point is staying with the feeling of anxiety in your body. Feeling that anxiety and just letting it be there very quietly. You're not thinking about it. Because you're not thinking about it, you're able to start noticing whatever thoughts arise out of being in the feeling of anxiety. Literally, whatever thoughts form out of that physical sensation of anxiety will be the thoughts about what it is you're anxious about. And this is where understanding your life and your world and yourself internally will come from the actual sensation of being you in any given moment. And this is the way we were born to function, not the way we've learnt to function. When we notice a sensation around us, there's nothing wrong with the sensation inside of us. There's nothing wrong with the vibration around us. It's just what it is. And whatever it is going to be different to another vibration or another sensation. That's why it's informing us of something different to what other feelings inform us of. That's why one sensation is informing us of something different to another sensation, because it's made up of different information. It's made up of different levels of urgencies and so on. Anxiety is a certain level of urgency. Panic is a higher level of urgency of a similar sensation. However, it's all a sensation in the body. So how do you cure anxiety? You don't cure it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not an ailment. It's not something wrong. You have to cure your relationship with it, which is distorted because you're always trying to change a natural sensation and feel a certain way that you prefer to feel over the way you do feel, and therefore completely disassociate and disconnect from yourself or the world around you and from the sensation in you that is keeping you connected to it. So stay connected with those sensations and let's see what they tell you about themselves. Let's hear from our own sensations, feel and notice the thoughts that arise when you finally settle down into your sensations of anxiety, and see what insights, what sights, what understanding, what seeing, what knowing comes automatically in the thoughts that are coming from those particular sensations. And this is listening to your body, listening to the sensations of your body, and your body is your first contact with the world through your senses. Your body is your first contact with the world outside of you and your first contact with the world inside of you, because that is you. You are your body. But in thinking about these sensations and trying to get rid of these sensations or change these sensations, before you really settled into these sensations and just let those sensations speak to you. And one of two things are going to happen, and usually both things, or often both things. One thing, at the very least, that sensation of anxiety is just going to dissipate now that you're allowing it to be there in the body. It will dissipate, it will settle down. The second thing is you are learning to be at ease with the sensation of anxiety, so that when it comes up next time, which it will, because it's not an illness, it's a natural alert to something in your life or something inside of you, so it's not wrong. It's going to happen hundreds and millions of times by the time you drop dead, if you're going to live that long, because it's necessary. It's an alert to something inside or something outside, and it's your connection with the understanding that is going to come about those things, whether they're inside of you or on the outside of you. So stop trying to change the way you feel and get used to feeling the way you feel when you're anxious, and settle with that anxiety. Let it be there. It's just a feeling. It's not going to harm you. It's going to support you. It's going to inform you. And at the very least, it's just going to dissolve from your system by you simply feeling it. And so this is why meditation, but particularly the natural meditation of the body, because only in the body can you feel anything, and only in the body can you get in touch with these informative sensations. This is where the greatest insights into what's going on in your life exist, in the body of you. And so this is where you resolve and recover from overly disturbing experiences of anxiety through to panic attacks. And even in a panic attack, what are you doing? You're going to feel that the same way. You just have to stay physically still and ride that feeling, ride that panic out, let that panic be there, even if it's a shortness of breath or a sweating or however far you go, just be with it. And in doing that, you are healing whatever you're feeling during that time. There may be more to come, but whatever you feel today, you heal today, and you won't be healing that again tomorrow. Tomorrow, you'll be healing something more, maybe of the same sensation, maybe of the same content inside of your body, the same stress in your body if there's a lot there. But eventually, as that continues to dissipate, it will get less and less intensity, and you'll be able to stay with it, mainly because you're not reacting to it, you're not trying to fix it. Being able to stay with it purely as a sensation in your body, based on the understanding that that is what you're supposed to be doing with each and every sensation. You're not supposed to be thinking about it. You're not supposed to be analysing it. What are you going to think about it with anyway? You have a sensation of anxiety in your body. You don't know why it's there. So exactly what are you going to think about? You're just going to invent stuff. You're just going to make stuff up. You're going to go in search of something. And that just takes you away from the healing process of just feeling the anxiety, knowing that that's the right thing to do. And in feeling that, letting the anxiety speak to you in its own language, in the language of the body knowing itself. Okay, if you enjoyed this content, hit the subscribe button and hit the like button, and I'll keep dishing it out. Okay, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you want to take your meditation and healing journey deeper, download my meditation app, Undo, which is available exclusively on my website, undoapp.com. Okay, bye for now.